Unleashing the power of your story, how everyday narratives can revolutionize Black history. Welcome to the Black CEO podcast. Today we have the extraordinary privilege of delving into the transformative insights gleaned from our interview with Connie Johnson, a visionary author, educator, and changemaker, who is fundamentally altering our perception of storytelling, particularly in the realm of preserving and celebrating Black history and experiences. Connie's groundbreaking work isn't just changing lives, it's reshaping the very fabric of how we understand and value our collective narrative. Her innovative approaches are lighting the way for a more inclusive, empowered future where every voice matters and every story has the power to change the world. Imagine for a moment that you're holding a pen, poised to write the story of your life. But instead of putting that pen to paper, you hesitate, doubt creeping in. Who would want to read about my ordinary life? You think, setting the pen aside. Now, what if I told you that in that moment of hesitation, you're not just depriving yourself of a powerful experience, but you're also robbing the world of a crucial piece of history? That by silencing your own voice, you're contributing to the erasure of an entire community's narrative? This is the revolutionary idea that Connie Johnson, author of the Oklahoma Historical Edwards Edition on Success Street and founder of the Gladness Bible Institute, LLC, is challenging us to grapple with. In a society that often glorifies grand narratives and celebrity stories, Connie argues that it's the everyday stories, particularly those of Black Americans, that hold the key to understanding our collective history and shaping our future. You might be thinking, but I'm not a writer. I don't have the skills to tell my story. And that's where Connie's innovative approach comes in. She's developed a method using PowerPoint presentations to break down the storytelling process into manageable steps. It's not about crafting the next great American novel. It's about documenting your experiences, your family's history, your community's struggles and triumphs. It's about recognizing that your life, your perspective, your voice matters. Now, you might wonder, why PowerPoint? Isn't that for boring business presentations? And that's exactly the point. By using a familiar tool in an unexpected way, Connie has made the art of storytelling accessible to everyone. It's not about literary prowess. It's about capturing memories, preserving legacies, and ensuring that the rich tapestry of Black American experiences isn't lost to time. But Connie's vision doesn't stop there. As the CEO and founder of Gladness Bible Institute, LLC, she's taken this concept a step further. She teaches people how to interact with stories in the Bible and the world around them. Now, you might be thinking, Hilton, what does the Bible have to do with my personal story? And that's where things get really interesting. Connie argues that by understanding how stories work in the Bible, how they convey meaning, preserve history, and inspire action, we can better understand how to tell our own stories. It's about seeing the connections between ancient narratives and our modern lives, between grand historical events and our personal experiences. It's about recognizing that our stories are part of a much larger narrative, one that stretches back through time and connects us all. This approach challenges our traditional notions of education and storytelling. We often think of learning as a one-way street, an expert imparting knowledge to students. But Connie's method turns this on its head. By encouraging everyone to become storytellers, she's creating a two-way street of learning and sharing. She's empowering individuals to become the authors of their own histories, the guardians of their own legacies. Let's dive deeper into why this matters. Connie's work highlights three key insights that I believe are crucial for us to understand and act upon. First, there's the power of storytelling. We often underestimate the impact of our personal narratives. We think, who would want to hear about my life? But here's the truth. Your story is unique. It's a thread in the vast tapestry of human experience, and without it, that tapestry is incomplete. When we document and share our personal and historical stories, we're not just preserving memories. We're empowering individuals and entire communities. Think about the Edwards Heights Historic District in Oklahoma City. This neighborhood, developed in the 1930s and 1940s specifically for African Americans, tells a powerful story of resilience and community building in the face of racist housing policies. If the residents of Edwards Heights hadn't preserved their stories, a crucial chapter of Black history in Oklahoma would have been lost. Imagine walking through Edwards Heights in its early days. The air is thick with anticipation and determination. Walter J. Edwards and Francis Gilliam Edwards, the visionary founders, are standing on a plot of land they've just purchased. Around them, the whispers of doubt and the echoes of racist deed restrictions hang heavy. But in their eyes, there's a fire, a vision of a thriving black community where none existed before. As they begin to build, each nail hammered, each brick laid is an act of defiance against a system designed to keep black families out. The first families move in, their faces a mix of hope and trepidation. Children play in yards their parents own for the first time. Neighbors gather on front porches, sharing stories and dreams. This isn't just a neighborhood being built. It's a community forging its identity, claiming its place in a world that tried to deny its existence. Fast forward to today. The Edwards Heights Historic District stands as a testament to the power of vision, resilience, and community. Its 318 properties, now listed in the National Register of Historic Places, aren't just buildings. They're living history. Each home holds within its walls the stories of families who dared to dream, who fought for their right to build a future. But here's the crucial point. If these stories hadn't been preserved, if the residents of Edwards Heights hadn't recognized the value of their everyday experiences, this powerful chapter of black history might have been lost. The struggles, the triumphs, the daily acts of courage that built this community could have faded into obscurity. This is why your story matters, because you, like the residents of Edwards Heights, are living history. Your experiences, your challenges, your triumphs are part of a larger narrative. By telling your story, you're not just preserving your own history. You're contributing to our understanding of the black experience in America. The second key insight is the power of structured learning. Connie's use of PowerPoint presentations and step-by-step teaching methods isn't just about making writing easier. It's about breaking down barriers to education and self-expression. By providing a clear, structured path to storytelling, she's empowering people who might never have considered themselves writers to share their experiences. Imagine sitting in one of Connie's Zoom classes at the Gladness Bible Institute. The screen lights up with a PowerPoint slide, but this isn't your typical presentation. Instead of dry bullet points, you see a roadmap to unlocking your own story. Connie's voice, warm and encouraging, guides you through each step. Start with what you know, she says. What's the earliest memory you have of your grandmother's kitchen? Suddenly, you're transported back in time. The smell of fresh, baked cornbread fills your nostrils. You can hear the rhythmic tapping of your grandmother's wooden spoon against the side of the mixing bowl. As you describe this scene, slide by slide, you realize you're not just recalling a memory. You're preserving a piece of your family's history. This structured approach doesn't just apply to writing. It's a tool for understanding complex narratives in all aspects of life. Whether you're trying to understand your family history, navigate current events, or interpret religious texts, having a structured method for breaking down and analyzing stories can be incredibly powerful. The third insight is about achievement through dedication. Connie's own journey is a testament to this. Her book, the Oklahoma Historical Edwards Edition on Success Street, has been accepted into the Library of Congress as a Black History book. She received the President Achievement Award presented by President Biden in 2022. These aren't just personal accomplishments. They're proof that with dedication and the right tools, individuals can make significant contributions to preserving and promoting Black history and experiences. Now, you might be thinking that that's all well and good for Connie, but I'm not an award-winning author. And that's exactly the point. Connie's achievements aren't meant to intimidate, they're meant to inspire. They show us what's possible when we commit to telling our stories and helping others do the same. Let's look at another example that illustrates these principles in action. The Gladness Bible Institute, LLC, founded by Connie, faced a significant challenge: how to create an engaging and accessible learning environment for individuals to achieve their writing goals. The solution: utilizing PowerPoint presentations and structured teaching methods to guide students through the writing process. Picture a diverse group of students, each with a unique story to tell, gathering in a virtual classroom. There's Sarah, a grandmother who wants to document her family's journey from the South during the Great Migration. There's Marcus, a young activist looking to articulate his vision for social change. And there's Evelyn, a retired teacher with a lifetime of experiences she's never put into words. As Connie guides them through her structured approach, you can see the transformation happening. Sarah's hesitant typing becomes more confident as she describes her grandfather's decision to leave everything behind for the promise of a better life in the North. Marcus finds his voice, articulating his passion for justice in clear, compelling prose. Evelyn, who always thought she had nothing important to say, discovers that her years in the classroom have given her a unique perspective on the evolution of education in her community. The results have been remarkable. Students have successfully completed writing projects and gained a deeper understanding of storytelling and its importance. But more than that, the Institute has contributed to the preservation and promotion of Black stories and experiences. It's not just about individual achievement, it's about building a community of storytellers who can support and inspire each other. This brings us to a crucial point: the importance of community in storytelling. We often think of writing as a solitary activity, but Connie's approach shows us that it can be a communal effort. By teaching through Zoom, she's created a virtual community of writers and storytellers who can learn from and support each other. Imagine the power of this community. Sarah shares her family's migration story, and it resonates with Marcus, helping him understand the historical context of the issues he's fighting for today. Evelyn's recollections of segregated schools provide a powerful backdrop for discussions about current educational inequities. As these stories intertwine, a richer, more nuanced picture of the Black experience in America emerges. This community aspect is particularly important when it comes to preserving Black history and experiences. Too often, these stories have been overlooked or deliberately erased from mainstream historical narratives. By creating a community of Black storytellers, we're not just preserving individual stories, we're building a more complete and accurate historical record. Now, you might be wondering, how does this apply to me? I'm not a historian or a professional writer. And that's exactly the point. Connie's work challenges the idea that only certain people are qualified to tell important stories. She argues that everyone has a story worth telling, and more importantly, that everyone has the ability to tell it. This democratization of storytelling is revolutionary. It challenges power structures that have traditionally controlled historical narratives. By empowering individuals to tell their own stories, we're creating a more diverse, nuanced, and accurate picture of our shared history. But it goes beyond just recording history. The act of storytelling itself can be transformative. When we tell our stories, we're not just sharing information, we're making sense of our experiences, finding meaning in our struggles, and recognizing our strengths. It's a powerful tool for personal growth and community building. This brings us to another counterintuitive idea that by focusing on our individual stories, we can actually create stronger, more cohesive communities. We often think of community building as requiring us to focus on shared experiences and common ground. But Connie's approach shows us that by sharing our unique stories, we can actually deepen our understanding of each other and strengthen our communal bonds. Think about it this way: when we share our personal stories, we're inviting others into our world. We're saying, this is who I am, this is where I come from, this is what I've experienced. And in doing so, we're creating opportunities for empathy, understanding, and connection. This is particularly important when it comes to preserving Black history and experiences. By encouraging individuals to share their stories, we're creating a more complete picture of Black life in America. We're moving beyond broad generalizations and stereotypes to capture the rich diversity of Black experiences. But here's where it gets really interesting. This approach to storytelling doesn't just benefit the Black community. By sharing these stories more widely, we're enriching our collective understanding of American history and culture. We're creating opportunities for cross cultural understanding and empathy. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm not sure I have a story worth telling. And that's where Connie's structured approach comes in. By breaking down the storytelling process into manageable steps, she's showing us that everyone has the ability to tell their story. It's not about crafting perfect prose or creating a best selling novel. It's about documenting your experiences, your family's history, your community struggles and triumphs. It's about recognizing that your life, your experiences, your perspective matters. This brings us to a crucial point: the importance of representation in storytelling. When we see ourselves reflected in stories, whether they're in books, movies, or historical narratives, it validates our experiences and our place in the world. By encouraging more people, particularly from underrepresented communities, to tell their stories. We're creating a richer, more diverse narrative landscape. But it's not just about representation, it's about reclaiming narrative power. For too long, the stories of Black Americans have been told by others, often through a lens of stereotypes and misconceptions. By empowering individuals to tell their own stories, we're shifting that narrative power back to the community. This is where Connie's work with the Bible comes in. By teaching people how to interact with stories in the Bible, she's providing tools for understanding and interpreting complex narratives. These are skills that can be applied not just to religious texts, but to all kinds of stories, including our own. Think about it. The Bible is full of stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. By studying how these stories are constructed and what they mean, we can gain insights into how to tell our own stories in powerful and meaningful ways. This approach to storytelling and education challenges our traditional notions of expertise. We often think that only scholars or professional writers have the authority to interpret and share important stories. But Connie's work shows us that everyone has valuable insights to share. It's a democratization of knowledge and storytelling that has the potential to revolutionize how we understand our history and ourselves. By empowering more people to share their stories, we're creating a more complete, nuanced, and accurate picture of our world. Now, you might be wondering, how do I start? How do I tell my story? And that's where Connie's structured approach comes in. By breaking down the storytelling process into manageable steps, she's making it accessible to everyone. Start small. Maybe it's just jotting down memories of your grandparents, and maybe it's documenting your family's holiday traditions. Maybe it's writing about your experiences in your neighborhood or community. The important thing is to start. And remember, it's not just about writing. Connie's use of PowerPoint shows us that we can use various tools to tell our stories. Maybe you're more comfortable with photography or video. Maybe you express yourself best through art or music. The medium doesn't matter as much as the message. The key is to recognize that your story matters. Your experiences, your perspective, your voice, they all contribute to our collective narrative. By sharing your story, you're not just preserving your own history, you're contributing to a richer, more diverse understanding of our shared history. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Pick up that pen, open that laptop, or grab that camera. Begin documenting your story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be comprehensive. It just has to be yours. Ask yourself, what experiences have shaped me? What challenges have I overcome? What traditions do I want to preserve? What lessons do I want to pass on? And don't stop there. Reach out to your family members, your neighbors, your community elders. Ask them to share their stories. Offer to help them document their experiences, because every story we capture is a piece of history preserved, a voice amplified, a perspective honored. Remember, you're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing it for your children, your grandchildren, for future generations who will look back and seek to understand where they came from. You're doing it for your community, adding your unique thread to the rich tapestry of Black history and experience. And you're doing it for our collective understanding of what it means to be human, to struggle, to persevere, to triumph. Your story has the power to inspire, to educate, to create empathy and understanding across cultural divides. So I urge you, don't let your story go untold. Don't let your voice go unheard, because in the grand narrative of human history, your story matters. Your voice counts. And by sharing your story, you're not just preserving history, you're shaping the future. You have the power to change the narrative, to challenge stereotypes, to fill in the gaps in our historical record. You have the power to ensure that the rich, diverse tapestry of Black experiences is not lost, but celebrated and understood. Take that first step today. Write that first word, record that first memory, because your story is waiting to be told and the world is waiting to hear it. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the power of storytelling. Let's commit to sharing our stories, to listening to others, and to creating a richer, more inclusive narrative of our shared human experience. Because in the end, it's our stories that connect us, that help us understand each other, and that have the power to change the world. Remember, Every word you write, every story you tell is an act of preservation, of celebration, of revolution. You are the author of your story, the keeper of your history, the voice of your experience. So speak up, write it down, share it out, because your story, your voice, your experience, they matter. They are part of the grand tapestry of human experience. And without them, that tapestry is incomplete. Let's make a promise to ourselves and to future generations. No more silenced voices, no more untold stories, no more lost histories. Let's commit to preserving, celebrating, and amplifying the rich diversity of Black experiences. Because when we tell our stories, we don't just change narratives, we change lives, we change communities, we change the world. Your story is waiting, the world is listening. It's time to let your voice be heard.